It's Talking Reds, it's Neil Atkinson, it's John Gibbons. What they do before Talking Reds, sometimes someone will put in the comments, they'll put the time it starts because they have a little video that runs, that builds up, and it's on John's screen there and it's on mine here because we want to keep an eye on the chat. So that happens later on, and what I'm saying is that if you just jump to that bit because you saw it later on, go back to the start, but that video that they run at the start is full of so much sunshine and people having fun, and it's fucking freezing, and it's mid-February. It's unremittingly cold. It's so cold today. So cold today. From nowhere. It feels like you thought you were safe. You're the side of it. You put your long johns in the wash, etc., etc. We're just going to throw you one in. And it's absolutely done me in this morning. I was shocked and stunned. John's shocked and stunned by how cold it is. But John, there's a cold breeze over the whole city of Liverpool, given these traffic issues that Liverpool councillors have had. It's all over the Liverpool Echo. You click away. Liam Thorpe, 16 months. The fucking graft he's put in on that. You just check out these councillors. You check them out with the parking fees. That's why there's a cold breeze, a cold wind, to quote Arthur Conan Doyle in Sherlock Holmes. There's a cold breeze across Liverpool because of the parking scandal. You check the Liverpool Echo out for more on that. We'll instead do the Premier League scandal. You tell me being away. We'll instead do the Premier League scandal. We will do the Manchester City charges. John, do you remember Manchester City were going to save football?
I don't.
Stopping Liverpool from winning the league, remember? They were calling out, the nation was calling out, save football, stop Liverpool from winning the league. And my God, have they saved football?
I've never been sure about all that, to be honest with you. I think City, if there was a City fan sit here now, they'd be like, everyone wants Liverpool to win it. There's always sort of, bits of that, but I don't think anyone's particularly surprised, are they? Maybe surprised in the Premier League have had, the gumption and
100 odd charges
and the hard work. Yeah, there's people that are working harder than you think.
Yeah.
To sort of to bring it all up and yeah, it's both been like bubbling for a while and then also managed to sort of come out of nowhere. It was like, boom, here you are. I think they're genuinely worried this time. I think they were. It seems to me that they're genuinely shitting themselves about it. I think always with UEFA, they always thought they could leg them somehow, whereas these ones are very thorough, very they've gone further than they needed to, and yeah, I think they're shitting themselves. I love this talk of like a mole. It was like they went from we haven't done anything wrong to who's grassed us.
There was a change of pace.
Really quickly. Yeah. We haven't done anything wrong, but who's the grass?
Well, do you know who hasn't grassed them? I can say it with a level of certainty. Vincent Kompany. He spoke out about it last night after the Burnley win. He's sceptical, just to be clear, about finger pointing. I haven't had time to even dive into what is undoubtedly an interesting topic, but I have more interesting things to worry about at the moment, Kompany said. I kind of look at it and sometimes roll my eyes a little bit because I have no doubt there's a lot of righteousness in the world to come and tell you what you've done wrong. But if everybody looks at themselves, I think the football industry in general is not one that can afford to point the finger too many times. If you know what the football industry is about, I'm very sceptical when people start pointing fingers. Do your best for yourself and let's try to improve all the time. I'm a little bit sceptical when fingers get pointed easily. I mean, first and foremost, let's be clear about this. He's very against finger pointing. That's the one thing I took from Vinny's extensive commentary there on the matter. I want to know what the other really interesting things he's got to worry about are. I mean, Burnley are all but promoted. He did have an FA Cup game, so maybe it's that. Ultimately, within that, there is a lot of truth for me in where I've got a bit of sympathy for Vincent there is basically all of football has needed to regulate itself better for so fucking long. But they've ended up now with this, a 4-year investigation, and for me that's almost part of why this is. Yesterday I wrote it was unremittingly bleak, like the weather, and I haven't sort of removed myself from that position that much because it's a 4-year investigation that now has taken the 4 years, that therefore ends at the start of those 4 years. Lots of football's been played since then, and it's now dealing with a lot of football the other side. And I'm fine with people being thorough, but this is why you need to have sort of real-time regulation as much as possible because this is mad. And let's just say for a second, everything sticks in that period. It obviously has ramifications for the period that's the 4-year investigation's ongoing. And whilst that was ongoing, Newcastle got a pass through their, other stuff's gone on since then as well. Whatever this fella's doing at Chelsea is still ongoing, for God's sake. This is my problem, is it's unremittingly bleak because of the time frames.
Yeah, and it's going to go on and on as well. So this is obviously, the end of something but the start of another process, and I've seen a lot of talk that any punishment is likely to be in the then and now rather than retrospective, but you know, it seems silly that if this is going to go on for years, then City might get a points deduction in a completely random season that, you know, is 10 years plus from when these, you know, alleged things are meant to have happened. And so that seems sort of strange, really strange to me. I've seen a bit of talk as well that this is maybe a bit of a reaction to, you know, the things like the Crouch Report, and it's the Premier League saying, no, look, we can regulate ourselves, get on this. But in that case...
That 4-year investigation, that doesn't make sense to me, really, if you know what I mean.
But also, you know, a properly regulated Premier League would have, you know, some of these are going back to 2009, 2010, you know, these should have been all over it a lot sooner, like you said, because in many ways the damage has been done now, you know, the damage to the competition, the damage to sort of, you know, who sort of wins what, who goes where, and so there's so much.
If it's all proven, and that's the key thing about this, if it's all sustained, because that might now still take another 18 months, but then there's a part of you that, if they get off with it, if it is not proven, but people will say they've just got off with it. Similarly, if they end up getting it, there'll be City supporters saying the Premier League were looking to victimise us and they were looking to make it show of us for a variety of reasons, and we would sue this and we would sue that, and they'll be resentful of it as well. And that's another way in which the length of time, no matter which way this now goes, it genuinely does feel, as I wrote yesterday, there is just a strong part of me that is really quite, what's the point? And it's a bleak pulling down the house of cards route I'm going down here, John, you know, not least because we're paying all these people's wages and our own through the process of this, but there is a part of me that's just like, well, what's the point being? And no matter what way that goes now, you know, I include the idea that they end up, that the Premier League got it completely wrong, that City end up absolutely vindicated from all charges, but there'll still always now be this hugely significant date, and that's why it's got to happen sooner. That's why it's got to happen in real time, this sort of stuff, so you're able to go at the end of any given season, yep, that was all fair and above board, rather than where we've now ended up.
But also, you know, use the word they're vindicated. They won't end up completely vindicated. That's not how this will sort of end up. If they get off, it'll be, you know, it'll be on doubt, it'll be on not being able to sort of prove certain things. And I've heard City say, fans and, you know, a few commentators say so many times they were vindicated over the UEFA stuff. They weren't. It basically just, they got off on technicalities and limitations over time and things like that. And so they'll be looking, these lawyers who they're lawyering up as we speak. There's this fellow who's meant to be on 10 grand an hour.
It's really funny.
Which is, you know, hey, nice work if you can get it. I doubt he is, to be honest with you. But anyway, so this super lawyer, if you like, has gone in through the skies with his cape. And he's not going to be going in there going like, right, how do we prove beyond all reasonable doubt that Manchester City are the cleanest and least corrupt football club. It'll be like, how do we get out of this? Basically, the job is now how do we get out of this? Where are the holes and stuff? And so, like you say, Neil, you know, that will ultimately, you know, no matter what happens, lead to mistrust, to dissatisfaction, and City might be able to, you know, get to keep the titles and, you know, and not, you know, face a points reduction, you know, whatever the sort of that will be. But, you know, there will be always be sort of a tainting, and there'll be sort of, you know, still sort of grumbling over why have you had to put us through this. You know, you've seen the start of that already. Well, you know, it's just the cartel trying to protect themselves and stuff like that. And, you know, it does just leave sort of a bit of taste in your mouth to think of, well, what is all this and how have we got here? I
find, like, genuinely, do you know what this reminds me of a little bit? It reminds me of, do you remember I didn't write this yesterday, but do you remember I thought about it, do you remember the Leeds away game when the Super League thing hit? And we had to go to Leeds on the Monday night. And you were genuinely like, what's the fucking point?
Yeah, you're just watching it going like,
what's the win here? Because if we don't win, well, it looks like we're trying to make the Super League thing happen, so we don't need to finish top 4. And I think there's like a thing here where I've got a bit of sympathy for City supporters, and everyone can do that, you're sticking your head in the sand sort of thing, but genuinely, it shouldn't be football supporters' jobs to regulate football. It genuinely shouldn't be. And you can go down any sort of route you want on that, but it genuinely should not be football supporters' jobs to have to do that. And to regulate their own responses to things. But there's a part of it, like, imagine, I don't know who City have got at the weekend, but could you be bothered? If you're like, does this mean anything? Does it not mean anything? You know, I think that's where you're not that far away from a City perspective, but I think you're also, that is the concern now, you know, from an Arsenal perspective. Let's say City overtake them this season and win the league by 3 points. And you're like, but there's all this in the background. But if you're City, I think there's every chance that you do feel this one on the pitch. a little bit, because there's every chance that like Guardiola must not be looking forward. The only person who's looking forward to the press conference this week coming up, less than Klopp, right now is Guardiola.
And there's going to be some belters this week. I said to Josh, can you do 3 team talks? Because I want Klopp's one, I want Pep Guardiola's one, and that mad cunt to Southampton.
Absolutely.
Because he could go anywhere. He could
anything.
blow them all off the water. You can't honestly.
You can't take your eyes off.
He's a showstopper, that guy. Do you know what I mean? You think Pep and Klopp are fucking headline news? Wait till you see him in action.
So yeah, that's it. And Guardiola, he's going to get it. And he's going to. And this is where I feel sorry for Klopp in a couple of ways as well on this at different times. But he's going to be asked Guardiola questions that, if I say they're beyond his pay grade, he's almost certainly the best paid, certainly non-footballer at Manchester City, so that's a bit mad. But he's going to be asked questions that he genuinely, and again, you can do that, well, he's been sticking his head in the sand, etc., etc. But someone else should have to front some of this up, I think, not the managers. Similarly, when Klopp's asked about the takeover, you know, from a Liverpool point of view, or a sale or an investment or whatever it is, I often feel like, get someone else in to do this bit, not Jurgen. Yeah. And similarly for Guardiola here, it's a bit like, ask him about if he's going to play it right back because he's fucked Cancelo off. The idea of these things that happened in 2012, what's your take on them? When there's a whole list of things he can't say in public, even if he wanted to, and we don't know whether or not he does. Do you know what I mean? I think it's so hard for the managers in these instances, John. The mad cunt at Southampton aside.
He's just making things harder for himself. By being mad. Yeah, it is tough. And Conte made the point recently, didn't he? It's like, it's mad in this country how you'd expect the managers to sort of front up anything. And he wasn't even talking about this shit. Do you know what I mean? He was probably just talking about transfers and spends and stuff like that. You know, he wasn't talking about, you know, what football clubs are doing with the finances and how people are getting paid and stuff like that. And, you know, he wasn't even talking about sort of that level. So, you know, there should, you know, a sporting director or someone should be sort of fronting all this up really. But like you say, Jurgen is going to be asked about it as well, and I understand why in a way, because, you know, he could, you know, arguably should be sat here on 3 league titles, you know, if you want to sort of put it like that. And so it is a live question, because there is repercussions for, you know, the other teams who are involved at the top, and that's what, you know, people are going to be looking at now is to say, well, you know, if the
charges are proven,
yeah, what does this mean for us? And so, you know, Vinny Company, you know, saying, you know, I've got other things to worry about, but at some point, you know, the players, you know, will start to think, well, what does this mean actually for my career, my legacy, my statues that are sort of there, like, is there knock-on effects? You know, is there?
They best not smelt the statue of Company. I'd say that was out of order.
No,
you can't start smelting statues. Come on.
Yeah, these days. I mean, maybe not, but who knows? We're in uncharted territories, Neil.
Yeah, well, and he's got things that he's more interested in at this given time.
Maybe they'll do one for him in Burnley.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, well, if he continues as he's been going, to be fair to him, when he focuses in, he doesn't mess about. Anything interesting in the comments?
Mark Swain says City are at home to Villa, Neil, just in case you're interested.
Is it right, Mark? It's Friday show tomorrow, mate. We have Wednesday afternoons off insofar as we can, so I'll think about the weekend then. But that's brilliant stuff. So yeah.
Asky as well says, if City beat Arsenal to the league, wonder what Arteta has to say, considering he's in both boats given the timeline.
Oh, Christ almighty.
I mean, he's all over this.
We're going to ask him as well.
Yeah, that's another one. The 4 team talks this week.
We're going to ask him.
Josh has got it do.
Yeah, it's a lot of graft for Josh. I don't feel like he's got anything else on. They're going to ask, I've just realised, of course they're going to ask Arteta. I mean, they're going to ask everyone, but they're going to ask Arteta about it as well. And he's going to have to answer in the context of his wider life and his ongoing thing. By the way, absolutely sickened by the weekend's football results, and I'm not talking about us. Obviously I was sickened about us. I've not really talked about it anywhere. Also did a little bit thing for on the whistle, and we genuinely made me sick. It was disgusting what happens at Molineux there, and it managed to push me close to my line of never give supporters the money back. Like, I'm still not going to cross that line. You never give supporters the money back. We all know the risks. I mean, we're all fucking going Monday. We all know the risks, but it was Liverpool were absolutely just so painfully stupid. It's hard to engage with. I couldn't believe all the content you had to do afterwards. You just must have felt like going mad.
Yeah, the post-match show wasn't bad actually. It was sort of, you know, we had a good little vow, but a sort of a nice one. And then Sunday I went to watch the women and they won, and sort of that cheered me up a little bit. But I mean, Saturday was a bleak day. Like, me and George went out for the Everton game and watched it in a pub that we discovered as soon as they scored was full of blues, and that was a blow.
Also, Arsenal were dreadful.
Yeah, Arsenal were poor.
Dreadful.
And then sort of coming over here to wrestle with the stream and then watch that shower of shite. It was a poor day of footy. And I'm like you, I'm not one give the fans the money back. I think that is bad, but if they get beat by Everton, I'm up for marching on AXA, like they do in Italy.
Sounds to look forward to.
I mean, if I say march, we'll get the train to Kirby.
Yeah,
and then we'll march from there.
I've done a big walk to the AXA in the past. Remember, I did that last year. I'd be useless when I got there if I had to walk all the way.
You'd end up just calming yourself down or forgetting why you've gone out at my age.
Whereas we can turn up, they'd fucking send Robertson out, which feels moody. Wouldn't they? They'd probably send Robertson out to speak to us and say that he understands and all that.
Yeah, calm us down. But no, if they get beat by Everton, that's on my list of things to do.
Excellent. I mean, it's a big Monday. We can get some content whilst we're there. Something to look forward to. Tuesday, sorry, it'll be a big Tuesday. We can get some content from that whilst we're there. Just don't be so fucking stupid again whilst playing football. Would be just on my list. Just stop now. I mean, they weren't. It wasn't even just that they were bad. Bad is fine. They were just so doom-brainish. I think I messaged you. We've actually sworn a lot on this Talking Reds, and I keep thinking we should try and swear less. But I think I messaged you. I was saying to someone, like, no one. And maybe it's a Liverpool thing, but I'm always at my angriest when I am not swearing. If you know what I mean, like, and I think this sometimes doesn't come over genuinely. You might think this is interesting. You might think this is a waste of your time, waste of your fucking time. But there's like. I think sometimes when, certainly for some of our sort of, maybe non-Liverpool, but certainly non-UK listeners, they might think, but they swear about all this stuff and then they're not swearing about, for instance, Joel Matip's mistake or something. And I'm like, no, if I'm calling Joel Matip a doom brain, it's amongst the worst things I could ever say about a footballer, if you know what I mean. Like when it's this steely, and I think I messaged you, I said on
you messaged me saying,
I haven't got a word to say for any of them. And that's like the worst thing I could ever say about the Liverpool team. Like, it's literally, I could be dropping C words and all sorts, and you might be thinking, oh, he's cross about that. If I haven't got a word to say about any of them, that's about the angriest it's possible to be. Steely, non-sweary, focused, absolute lividness with the stupidity of Liverpool is like my personal, this is it.
Yeah, it's...
And then, oh my God. So Arsenal are fucking abject, and then City go and get beat by Spurs. And it's not that I want City to win the league or anything like that. It's just, make Arsenal fucking wear it. Like, year in, year out, we drop points anywhere.
Yeah, we never got those gifts. Yes, Arsenal aren't being made to suffer anywhere near enough.
They need to suffer more.
Yeah, or you don't get it. You don't get the title.
They give us it for 18-19. Like, if Arsenal don't suffer enough, I want them to give us it for 18-19. Not even through this process that we're all talking about here. Off the basis of the fact that Arsenal went put through absolute agony. If they're not agonised, I don't want them to win the league.
Yeah, it feels like doing a marathon and like getting a lift for the last 2 miles. Do you know what I mean? Someone going, just jump on the back of that bike for the end bit. It's all right. You've done enough.
And the other part of this is, it was Tottenham. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, I don't want to turn this into a we're up for the derby, but as if, in that scenario, the Blue Brethren do us a favour. As if that happens. As if that happens.
They go 1-0 up and then lose 3-1.
Yeah.
Go only messing.
You carry the dog back out. They go only messing.
Yeah.
Ross Barkley bangs one top bin.
Yeah.
20 minutes later, they've lashed 3 in their own goal. Well, that's what happens.
That was 13-14, wasn't it? Christ. Yeah. There we are.
Akshay Jasu says, I feel you guys. I had to go and drop my son to kindergarten at 6:45 a.m, walking 2 kilometres in -6. I want to be crystal clear. I just stood outside for a minute on the phone there. I did not do any of that nonsense. So now, trust me, I feel you. It goes that way around. There's loads and loads of bits. Do we think there's weight in the fact that this come out before the government announced their approach for regulating finances? That's been ongoing for ages, is the thing I would say, and this has been ongoing for ages. They keep putting the white paper back, the Tories, because I think they're trying to find a moment of maximum opportunity, and because he's done the reshuffle, which has got someone else into DCMS, I think what he wants is for that person to get the big moment of announcing the white paper in a couple of weeks, and it'll be like a moment like that. So I think that there's other there's other bastards in blue in play in this one. It is worth saying as we go all the way through. Where are we? What else have we got here all the way in the comments? Anything sticking out to
Someone's
you, John?
asking about Julian Ward to Ajax, if you want to talk about that.
Could be a good job for him.
Yeah, it seems like quite a nice move for him. I think there's, you know, it's the kind of thing that people will get het up about. But if one of our footballers was leaving and going to Ajax, you'd be like, oh, wish him luck. You know, if one of our players was leaving and going to Barcelona, you'd be like, something's gone wrong here. Yeah. So it's sort of a similar thing, you know, for me. I wouldn't expect him to do this big sabbatical like Edwards has, because he hasn't been in the job, you know, the same amount of time. I'd expect him to leave and want to start working on it straight away. And and Amsterdam's a nice place to work and live.
And I will reiterate what I've said on about 3 shows recently. The idea there's some grand conspiracy theory around Edwards when he's literally done the thing he said he'd do, when he wrote a great big thing, having not spoken for ages, and said, I want to spend more time with my family and have a bit of a break. That's what he's done. So there's no grand conspiracy. That's just what he's done. At some point he'll get a job at another club and everyone will lose the shit, but he's had a long break from doing the football stuff and spent some time, I'm saying with his family, I don't know, but with a bit of luck he's managed to sort of nail that and to go from there. Where are we? Kazi wants all sorts of things happening, all the way down to the Vanarama. Is it the Vanarama National League still? Is Vanarama involved?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure.
We should probably know what would exist in football. Salik Khan says FFP is dead anyway. I mean, there's a problem with that, Salik, which is quite literally all these charges. It's, you know, and listen, if nothing comes of any of them, then maybe we can say that and go from there. But also, there was talk that a UEFA delegation went to United, it was in the Athletic a couple of days ago, to have a big chat, possibly with United, about FFP from a UEFA point of view as well. And they are being increasingly stringent on wanting to reduce for Champions League clubs, which, by the way, should happen, the wages to turnover down to 60% over the course of the next sort of 3 or 4 seasons. I think they are genuinely committed to that. What that'll actually end up looking like in practice, given the role of the fella who runs PSG currently being 110% versus his role, many, you know, these people, they sit on so many boards. Who's got the time? Honestly, it's so rock hard. We can barely get Liam to do a t-shirt. Do you know what I mean? And yet they sit on so many boards. I don't understand quite how. It's like you know, Brock's been watching Billions. Have you watched it?
No.
Every scene, every line has plot in it. Like people just walk into rooms and progress the plot in a manner that in other TV series would take like 15, 20 minutes. Like it's like the absolute opposite of Mad Men. You know, when lots of really consequential things happen all the time, but you don't know the consequential. Whereas basically every character walks in carrying a board that says the thing I am about to say is consequential to the plot. Fucking listen. And that happens over and over again, and that's the way they've written Billions. It's exhausting. One episode feels like about 10 of anything else. It's absolutely... Paul Giamatti's up, he's down, there's highs, there's lows. Damien Lewis is in it as well with a frankly mad accent. I loved you in A Spy Among Friends, Damien. But this accent genuinely is unbelievable graft. It all takes place in really plush office buildings. So therefore, I mean, it's a deliberate decision by the programme makers. I think they're sort of nailing what they're doing. But anyway, where did that start? These fellas who were on loads of boards, it's like that. Like everything they do is a consequential meeting. I mean, fucking hell, who's got the time? Everything
maybe that's all you do, though, and no actual work.
Yeah, I know, that's genuinely what I think. There's no one, I know, you know, they're never doing anything, never doing a day. Just doing consequential meeting after consequential meeting, and at the end of the day saying I'm shattered. Just so many consequential meetings. That's what it's like anyway, European football. That's sorted out for you. Maybe the fellas who do Billions should do something on that. Where are we? United are getting Qatari owners now, says Ash. Scary times. There's no guarantee of that. We were getting Qatari owners about 3 weeks ago, if you remember, and everyone lost their fucking minds. So, you know, I mean, I'll be honest with you, Ash, I'm exhausted, mate. If you could get me a sabbatical a la Michael Edwards, that'd be fabulous. Be absolutely brilliant news. Because there's just so much football everywhere all the time, and you can't just have a bit of a run where you win 3 and 4 and the Reds are crap, if we're all honest about it. Anyway, what else have we got here,
I think
John?
you just got to sort of wait and see on the ownership thing as well. Like there's very little we can do about that. I feel like the results on the pitch, there's at least something we can try and do. Like I made up the Spy and Cop lads to do the flag day on Monday, which was arranged anyway, but it's trying to, like, you know, get the atmosphere going and you can support your team. Whereas, like, I don't know...
Or go the Axel on the Tuesday, depending on your options.
Or storm the training ground on Tuesday, yeah. Or both. I'll probably do both, to be honest with you. But... No, because they're going to win, so no. But the point is, you feel like that's something that you can sort of, you know, positively contribute towards, whereas this, you know, it feels like, you know, the idea of picking a favourite of potential owners at the moment, I just can't be arsed with. Who's your favourite billionaire? So my advice would be, like, just fucking wait and see. Just sit it out until something happens. And obviously, if you want to, you know, protest against the current ownership and stuff like that, that is up to you. But I think in terms of, like, who's going to take over, I'll just wait and see. And I'll assess them when they get here.
Well, Thelma Viaduct, Ouse Valley's lad.
It's a good pun.
Ouse Valley's lad as well is also excellent. Says FSG and tore top Reds out. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. I mean... I don't know where Thelma wants us to go. I'll go out.
Thelma's made up as well the Fleetwood Town are through to the FA Cup 5th round. So here's some good news. I'm not sure it's good news, just news.
No, it's fine. I'm fine with it. I'm absolutely fine with it across the board.
Fleetwood Town into the 5th round of the FA Cup, so not all bad.
That
was what made me laugh about it.
Not all bad.
Right, great stuff. Oh, I even fucking throw the derby then if Fleetwood have been.
Or alternatively, these charges from the Premier League on Manchester City. Not all bad, absolutely tremendous. Absolutely tremendous. No summer sporting director going into one of the most pivotal summers in club's history. Says football carnage. Yeah, I mean, Grizz, genuinely, Jesus Christ. You'd think that the people running Liverpool might, for instance, replace people when they leave, rather than...
Maybe they just think, well, that cunt will leave as well, so...
It's very possible. It's very possible in the long run. But yeah, I mean, I would like people to, for instance, I would start off with someone replacing Mike Gordon, and then from there I would have other people replaced as we go all the way down, and ensure that we're not in a Liverpool thing where everyone's doing fucking 3 jobs. Let's replace people and bang into it. And the thing about that is you don't need a takeover to do it or an investment to do it. You could just do it anyway. So I'd start off replacing Mike Gordon if Mike Gordon's going to go and do other stuff. But I'm no expert. I mean, I don't do that many consequential meetings. My meetings are mostly inconsequential.
It looks like they've got a new Mighty Red in, so that's the main thing.
Have they?
They were advertising for a new Mighty Red a few weeks ago, which didn't get as much traction as all the data fellas, which is wrong in my opinion, because he's more visible.
Much more visible.
But I noticed that we were Mighty Red lists at the women's game on Sunday, but apparently the grand store opening on Friday is going to also be, much more importantly, the unveiling of the new Mighty Red. So I'm going to be assessing the performance and I'll let you know what they're all about.
Excellent. Can't wait for the return of the Cormorant of Doom. What else have we got here all the way through? We have got Jeff Twentyman chat from King Arthur USA, tennis coach. I don't know quite what to do with that. You get a haircut round ours like that. Oh, I've lost the live. There we are. It is a very cold morning. That we've said that. Absolutely said that. What else do we have here?
Square Window says, I found out that Vicky Gormsall is an LFC fan that I'm into. Yeah, I did Sky yesterday, which was quite fun. I was meant to be on with Video Corner, but then the City stuff broke and he had to leg over to to City. So it was on the thing where you're just on your own, you've just got a piece of the support.
Could you see them?
No.
It's hard, that.
Well, what I was annoyed as well is like, basically he made me take my coat off and I had a jacket on and take that off to put all this makeup over my back, and then I put it all back on, and then I looked at a state, and the fella, who was an Evertonian by the way, the cameraman, never went, oh, sort yourself out a bit there, do you know what I mean? And so like a lot of the comments, I mean, it's funny, I say like it looks like I've just woke up on someone's sofa and gone, shit, I'm on Sky, and rushed out. Like all my hair was a mess as well. Like I was having a bad hair day, I couldn't sort it. You couldn't sort me hair for the life of me. But all my jackets and me coats and stuff and all the states. And you think that the Evertonian cameraman would have said like, oh, I know I've made you do all that palaver with your clothes, so I'll help you sort yourself out of it. But no, he just threw me on Sky like a prick, and made me sort of, you know, but it was gentle teasing, it was fine. But anyway, Vicky Gormsall just dropped in and she said, wait, and they said, oh, I'm not supposed to say that. And I reckon she just after coming on. Like, it felt like an
she welcome out to the bad thing with the parade after Paris with Vicky for ages.
Oh, did you?
It was me with Vicky for ages, and she was great, loved her. Great company. Let's get her on. Sort that out, same time we get Rick Edwards boxed off. Crick D says this, Edwards leaves, gets an understudy, he's leaving after less than 12 months. Yeah, there's nothing to question there and lazily label a conspiracy. No, they're separate things, Crick. First and foremost, Edwards leaves because he's done a job for 10 years. He's really clear as to his reasons for leaving. Then I think there's a situation where maybe Julian Ward either didn't particularly fancy it when he got in, or alternatively, maybe just isn't up to it. And that's allowed, by the way, or maybe it's his first big one and he'll come back around and he'll work himself out. All of that's allowed. It's literally part of life.
Loads of promotions don't work out.
Loads of promotions don't work out. So it's not the idea of there is something to question at the minute with the way in which the club's being run. I keep saying it. You know, for instance, start off with replacing Mike Gordon and go from there. It's fucking mad that they're not doing that, and it's been mad that that's dragged on. And the minute they said that Gordon was going to worry about the investment or sale, alarm bells went off in my mind thinking, but someone's got to support Jurgen, someone's got to support the sporting director, someone's got to be in supporting positions around that and have a sense of where the final direction of travel is. That's a huge fucking concern, Crick, an absolutely huge concern. But simultaneously, not everything's some sort of grand conspiracy. Sometimes it's either a bit of casual incompetence, or sometimes someone just ends up in a job that doesn't entirely suit them at that given moment. Hopefully he'll do well at Ajax. You've got to wish him all the best. But ultimately what we can't start doing is driving ourselves mad, trying to look for some sort of grand tick answer to Liverpool's many, many issues. It feels to me as though a lot of people have sort of just got on and got to a certain point in lives, and lives moves on and people's change. But anyway, we'll sort that out separately.
Do we need to go and do all the content?
Do we? Oh, that's a problem. I'm enjoying myself here, John. Is there anyone else we can get stuck into? Okay. No, this is it. 3 strikes will happen later on. It'll be out tomorrow. It'll be more City stuff. We're going to go into overview. We've got to do on this day. It's 5-1 against Arsenal. That's what we'll be doing on that. Download the app. Get stuck into loads and loads of Anfield Wrap stuff. Maybe we'll just get a St. Bernard to follow me around today because I feel like I'm going to talk for wherever. By the way, at the end, he parks where he wants. He parks where he wants. Councillor Nick Small. He parks where he wants. That's your Talking Reds.